Thank you for joining FLYN Nickel video presentation. My name is John Lee, the chairman and founder. Through the presentation, we hope you'll find FLYN Nickel to be one of the pure nickel plays with exceptional open pit optimized grade, near permit status, and with environmentally friendly low carbon footprint. We will also lay out our three-pronged development approach to 100% all Minago sulphide project in exploration, in permitting, and with an updated feasibility. Now, I'd like to introduce Daniel Osterman, the CEO of FLYN Nickel Mining Corp. Dan?
Thank you, John. A little about myself. I am Dan Osterman. I'm a professional geologist. I've worked 25 years in the mining and exploration industry. I started my career in the Thompson nickel belt. I was part of the team that drilled the T3 mine in Thompson, and which is still being mined today. And I've spent almost half of my career exploring for nickel in some of the best known nickel camps in the world. This includes Sudbury, Lynn Lake, and I've also explored for nickel in the Western Cordillera in the Yukon. This project really is a homecoming for me, back to my nickel roots, back to the Thompson nickel belt, and I'm excited to talk about this project today. So the Minago project is located in Thompson nickel belt. This is historically the second largest nickel camp in North America, having mined over 5 billion pounds of nickel since the late 1950s. Our project has a large NI 43-101 compliant resource. It boasts excellent infrastructure from both power and immediate access running through the property. And the project was brought to a feasibility stage in 2010. In addition to that, it was awarded a permit to mine a 10,000 ton per day open pit operation in 2011, which is still in good standing today. This is a project with a long history of work, starting from the late 60s, and from which today we benefit from the culmination of this work. And we're now nearing the finish line of a very long marathon. Minago has a measured and indicated resource of 722 million pounds contained nickel and an additional inferred resource of 319 million pounds nickel, both grading 0.74%. 84% of this resource is in the known nose deposit shown here. And this is what was brought to a feasibility stage in 2010. In our MRE, we were able to bring the North Limb deposit shown to the north into a resource category with 117 million pounds of nickel in the indicated and 113 million pounds inferred resources. Now, if you look at how Minago stacks up compared to some other open pit bulk tonnage style nickel projects in North America, you can see that Minago grades hold up very well. We are now openly trading on the Toronto Stock TSX Venture Exchange. Our financing was priced at 70 cents non-flow through with half a warrant, 2 million shares flow through at 77 cents, no warrants. We have 62 million shares outstanding, 73 million fully diluted. 23 million shares are held by Battery Metals, and this is a long-term core investment for that group. 17 million are held by Blackstone Minerals, several funds, insiders, and those who participated in the financing. There are 11 million warrants and options, which are exercisable between 70 cents and $1. And since the stock started trading on March 4th, we've seen daily liquidity of 100 million shares.
1 million shares a day.
Yes. So where is the value in Minago? Well, in order to duplicate the work that brings the project to the resource that we see here, and to this advanced stage, you would have to spend $53 million in today's money. And that much of that is just in the 85,000 meters worth of drilling, which you see here. And also the time involved to get where we are, a minimum of 7 years to complete the work. And that would include all the baseline studies and the permitting. Rob, I think I'll let you describe this slide.
Thanks, Dan. I'm Rob Van Vernon. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for FLYN Nickel Mining Corporation. I'm based in Thompson, Manitoba. I have over 30 years of experience with Inco and Vale in mining and mineral processing operations. I started my career in Inco in 1990. I had a variety of roles, including mine manager and most recently project manager of the Thompson operations, where I led multidisciplinary teams of 350 people in mining operations, maintenance, exploration, procurement, supply chain management, and contract management in optimizing the operations. I left through an opportunity for early retirement and ended up joining FLYN Nickel due to the quality of the project. It's just something that really impressed me. felt that it was important that I be a part of this. This is in my backyard. I'm very familiar with the area. I'm very familiar with the mineral type, the mining style, and the processing, as well as the stakeholder groups. That brings us a little bit to the environment. This project could potentially have the lowest CO emissions on the planet. One of the items in this is it gets to use hydroelectric power from Manitoba Hydro. It is a very low emission intensity. We're also examining the potential for an electric fleet that would further lower our CO2 per pound produced. This is key when looking at the supply chain for EV, which in order to maintain their low CO2 standards will have to source low CO2 nickel. This compared to, say, the laterites, Minago is expected to be orders of magnitude lower on CO2 emissions compared to those types of energy intensive alternatives. Where does that lead us? Right into our people. So we have a very, very veteran team. Of course, Dan and myself, we have over 55 years of experience. Doug Ramsey, he's got over 40 years of experience in environmental permitting and in Indigenous affairs, as well as Mark Scott, who's got a 20-year experience with Vale and was the former head of Vale in Thompson, Manitoba. Dave Gower is on as an advisor. He has got 20 years in nickel with Falcon Bridge as well. We also have several others on board, including Dr. Peter Lightfoot and Rob Smith, who is a former exploration manager for Vale as well. Dan, maybe you could talk about the drill bits.
Sure, thanks, Rob. So for the first half, we've gone over a lot of the high-level key aspects of the project. The second half, we're going to go into the geological model drilling, exploration potential, and the development schedule. So breaking down the drilling, first of all, 71,000 of that 85,000 meter drilling on the project was drilled on the nose deposit. This gives us a high degree of confidence in the grade and continuity of the nose zone. But in addition, 14,000 meters were drilled on this newly added North Limb resource. This is a material that was not included in the 2010 feasibility study. And we anticipate that we can move much of this material into the measured and indicated category, which means additional resources for our future mining scenario outlook. So on the right, you see a conceptual section of the nose deposit. And what you see are long continuous drill intercepts up to 192 meters wide at 0.51% nickel and a large consolidated mineral body. This is what makes it ideal for an open pit mining operation. So to go a little into the model a little bit here, we are in the Thompson nickel belt. The Minago is in fact a TNB style deposit, which is important when we start to look at the exploration upside of the project. So on the right, on the left side, we have the Thompson dome, which is on a geological structure known as a fold. The T1 deposit is located on the nose of this fold, and along the same structure within a few kilometers is a T3 deposit. Combined, these two deposits make up 3 billion of the 5 billion pounds that were mined in Thompson. Now, we have the exact same structural controls of Minago. The nose deposit is aptly the nose of a fold, just as the T1 is on the nose of a fold, and the North Limb along the limb of that very same fold. So these map very well on aeromagnetic geophysics, as you can see on the right-hand side. And the nose and the North Limb both light up as hotspots due to the magnetic character. These are tools that we can use to find more mineralization on the project. However, on this project, we already have proven mineralization outside of our resource. So if you just look to the northwest of our resource, shown here in the middle in red, you see that in 2008, they drilled one of these magnetic hotspots, and they hit 66 meters of 0.52% nickel. And 5 kilometers to the south of our resource on one of our leases, there were six holes drilled in the 1970s into another magnetic hotspot, which you see corresponding on the right. All of which hit nickel mineralization, and the best of which shown here is 37 meters of 0.51% nickel. Now note the strike of the southern body. That's at least 2 kilometers of a host body, leaving lots of additional work to be done to characterize these mineralized zones.
Wow, that's impressive.
So thanks, John. So far, we've only looked at the little postage stamp shown on the left here on our property. But if you look to the right, you see a satellite image of our land position, 197 square kilometers of ground. Now note the highway and the power line running through our property, lending it excellent infrastructure. But if you superimpose our land package over the regional magnetics, where you see all those hotspots, There are a significant number of these hotspots, and many of which have seen little to no drilling. And Rob, I think I'll give this one to you.
Thanks, Dan. So what exactly would Minago's product look like? There's been considerable work done on the Minago mineralization. They've had over 60 rougher and cleaner flotation tests from 5 metallurgical holes that were done in 2008 by SGS Lakefield. At that point, they used feeds between 0.6 or 0.4 and 0.6% nickel, and they were able to get an 18 to 34% concentrate from that, with 52 to 58% recoveries. Just a note that our resource is at 0.74%. Based on that recovery curve, we would expect over 70% recoveries on this type of plant. It's a good quality concentrate here with minimal deleterious elements, making it ideal for any number of downstream options. The flow sheet is essentially what you see in Thompson, and therefore it's predictable, it's proven to work, and has a lot of upside as far as adding value coming out for recoveries.
Rob, how would 22% concentrate rank in terms of concentrate quality, benchmark against other major nickel mine, sulphide mines?
So rather than as a ranking, I would say it's a standard that can be used anywhere in the world. A 20 to 22% concentrate is a standardized product that can be used in almost any smelter, refinery, or even powder refining capacities around the world. So it's a very good product that can be used anywhere.
Thank you.
And just going into that, we talk about the destination a little bit. So there are a few options here. Note that the project is only 225 kilometers from Thompson, Manitoba. And currently that's where Vale's ore trucks literally drive through the property or buy it by train. We envision the same routes and possibly even the same destinations. For example, in 2020, Vale smelter had a shortfall of 20 kilotons in capacity, while Glencore had a 35 kiloton gap. There are no nickel mines coming online, and given our concentrate would be similar to Thompson, our product would be ideal for any one of these options. And that also includes export either to Finland in the Norilsk Bulletin plant or even to China and Jinchuan, which is very important to note.
Understood. Rob, just to be clear, when you say ore truck, it's actually trucks of concentrate product, right? Not actually the ore.
That is correct. We're talking about concentrate, nickel units in concentrate.
Thank you.
Our timeline. So in 2011, this project was awarded an Environmental Act license, which is essentially a permit to operate a 10,000 ton per day open pit mine. This permit is still active pending the completion of a notice of alteration, which we have submitted and now is under review by the Manitoba government. We have commenced an updated feasibility study, which is also expected to be completed by the end of November. It would make this project shovel ready by the end of this year. We have signed a memorandum of understanding with the Norway House First Nations, which is the main stakeholder in the area. And we will now enter more definitive discussions and wrap it up in June to have a more complete understanding of our agreement. We have a team with over 115 years of combined experience in nickel mining operations and exploration. This is an advanced project and one of the few nickel projects in the world that could see its first shipment of concentrate by the end of 2026. Our budget right now, we're fully funded for 2022. We expect to be spending about $7.2 million. Of that, fair amount of that is going into exploration, about 2.4 million.
Thanks, Robin. Thanks, Dan. Hopefully through the presentation, we have impressed you with FLYN nickel being one of the pure nickel plays with exceptional open pit optimized grades of over 0.74%. The project is near permit status and is one of the greenest nickel projects in low carbon footprint. We've also laid out our three-pronged development approach to our 100% owned Minago sulphide project in exploration, in permitting, and in an updated feasibility study. Nickel is flying high at $35 a pound as of today, and FLYN nickel is well on its path to be the leading nickel junior in Canada. I hope you join us for the ride.